Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am Piglet here once again, and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Super Luigi Galaxy in the Super Mario Galaxy game for the Nintendo Wii/Nintendo Wii U eShop downloadable version. So, yeah, last time we actually did manage to continue things on with the, the Purple Challenge missions and all that stuff, and, as a matter of fact, that we did manage to tackle through. Let's go back to the beginning again for the actual chronological order that we did manage to did done for the past few videos or so. Well, to be more specifically, the last video we've actually did done. That is, we have done Beach Bowl 1, or in this case, we have done Beach Bowl Galaxy completely, and also we've actually accomplished Dusty Dome, and especially noticeable for, I would say, Toy Time Galaxy as well. And also Gusly Garden, and there's also Melty Mountain, and especially not to mention with Freeze Flame Galaxy. So today for this episode, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that we're about to begin the two final Purple Coin Challenge missions on Super Luigi Galaxy as a result, which in this case we're about to be exploring through the Deep Dark Galaxy, and especially noticeable for Sea Slide Galaxies for the final time. See you for then though. And after all that, we can able to actually move on to the final frontier of the forms of this particular Let's Play itself, by able to actually not only just trying to duel against with Bowser for the fourth, and especially noticeable for the final time as Luigi, but as overall Let's Play is concerned, we're actually going to be faced off against with Bowser for the 8th and the final time for the sake of the actual, well, Super Mario Galaxy / Super Luigi Galaxy Let's Play. So, yeah, you probably get the idea to see how this will go, but even then, yeah, today's day is the forms of the 4th of June in 2019, so even then though, that tomorrow, that Pokemon Direct will be surely to be showcased during the likes event tomorrow. So even then though, that might be curious to see how that will turn out, but again, it's hard to explain about this actually, because I know for the fact that, wow, I just want to able to actually just to get on to the actual points of the actual commentary for, forget it. I know I do apologize by the forms of my lack of dialogue for this commentary for this point, folks, because again, a little bit too rusty at the moment when it comes to the forms of news and announcements and all that stuff, but until when it gets to the point when either Mario or Sonic might actually do, like Sonic might actually do his redo Let's Play of Sonic Lost World on the Wii U, and especially noticeable for Super Mario Odyssey returning to the actual Let's Play for Mario, so who knows, we're able to know where we're gonna find things out exponentially. See, from then, yeah, because as you expected, we've only got about 2 more power stars to go until whenever we reached back into the forms of Bowser's Galaxy Reactor for the final time of this Let's Play. So, generally speaking, that, yeah, you probably get the idea for the solution here. So, but then again, I'm probably going to save the, I should probably get pointings out right away with the actual final 2, Purple Coin Challenge missions, is that I said this before, that I'm always going to be going after the Deep Dark Galaxy first, because I feel like this one wasn't exactly that long, but it might be a little bit long sometimes, because if you do not know where the purple coins are, then most of the time you will able to actually easily bypass them during the likes of any underwater ship part. So, yeah, that'll probably get the explanations going on right there. So, yeah, as far as I can say about it. So anyways, and how did I miss that? Oh, jeez, I felt so sloppy today. But anyways, yeah, just because of this though, few things I want to explain about this actually, apart from the fact that, well, we've only got about next week or so until, this year's E3 announcements. See, for now, I'm really looking forward to that stuff still, but I have to wait until about a week left until, after the Pokemon Direct will be finished. But to be honest with you guys, I wasn't really into those main series of games that much until the spin-off titles comes in, and you know, I've still really enjoyed these spin-off titles still, but I digress. So, anyways though, alright, so as usual, oh yeah, before we get into the actual main ship parts, we need to go ahead and gather more of those purple coins on the edge of the water, so even then, that way we could able to deal with that kinds of stuff. So, yeah, another thing I want to explain about this, actually, is the fact that during the likes of well, for the actual My Little Pony Friendship is Magic Season 9 so far. Well, as far as I'm still watching it at the moment, in Season 9 so far. And so far, anyway though, as far as the actual progression I'm in, seems we're almost at the halfway point of Season 9 already. So even then though, can't believe the actual things itself just goes way too fast than it should be done. So, but even then though, that's because of how the fact that, well, I'm gonna miss the actual show when the actual series is ended before they move on to the next generation or something like that. But hey, at least we already got ourselves, like, quite a few months left until the actual, like, you know. But again, there's not much else I can really say about this point, to be honest with you guys, apart from the fact that I've already explained quite a lot of things during the likes of in this video, or in this case for this previous video, as far as I say that much, and because of this, as a result, that you could definitely tell that my commentary skills wasn't exactly all that great, and especially noticeable of how the fact that, well, I'm still practically going to be able to actually just play well in the game for myself, you see. But most of the time, especially noticeable when there was like some discussions to make through, especially noticeable with how the fact that, well, there are some announcements and all that stuff. Well, I've already mentioned about these things quite several times, potentially. Although, there was one missing information I would like to point things out, and that was the forms of something to do with Mortal Kombat 11, which, very similar to the forms of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, potentially, is the fact that, if you couldn't tell, about the fact that Mortal Kombat 11 will also get themselves the DLC packs and stuff, which the first DLC pack it actually includes is the returning fighter from the old school Mortal Kombat games, and that will have to be Shang Tsung, which even then though, because I could assuming that Shang Tsung wasn't exactly in the game or something like that, or maybe he was actually being mentioned during in some conversations of the actual storytelling as far as I'm concerned. But I was a little bit lost track of myself because I haven't really played that much of Mortal Kombat these days. Well, I did used to back in during the likes of the Xbox 360 by the forms of Mortal Kombat 9, but apart from that though, I haven't got the 360 version anymore, but until in 2018 I managed to get myself the PlayStation Vita version instead. So that way I can able to actually play on the go and all that stuff. So here we go, folks, on to the last Purple Comet mission in the whole entire game for Luigi's case, and easily one of the longest mission in the entire game in my opinion, and that will have to be Seaside Galaxy, or in this case, Seaside Galaxy, Purple Coins by the seaside, of course. But again, what makes it super long is the fact that you need to able to cope with the cloud platforming stuff, which sometimes it starts to able to actually go so smoothly as it is, but most of the time though, that you just have to wait until when the actual clouds themselves might actually start to go like up and down or what have you, which even then though, that might be my kind of things I'm not exactly particularly fond of, but I digress. So again, not much else to really say about this point, to be honest with you guys, apart from the fact that, well, we've almost got towards the end of, for the sake of this Let's Play, for not only Super Mario Galaxy, but it's also Super Luigi Galaxy as well. So hopefully expecting that it will be the actual duology Let's Plays between Super Luigi Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy will be finished by during the likes of in the very beginning of this month. So even then though, however though, there's one little thing I just want to classify for something, is the fact that when it comes to the final two videos of during the likes of in the next day, and especially the day after, like specifically on the 5th of June and the 6th of June, actually I'll get some more details onto that whenever we're able to actually like finish off the main game twice as Luigi. So even then, that after all, we actually got about 119 power stars so far, and especially noticeable with how the fact that, you know, the Golden Dome is now fully completed, especially with the Deep Dark Galaxy as a result of that too. So yeah, you probably get the idea for that. I can't even remember back in during the likes of in 2014, even though despite the fact that that particular original Let's Play for both Super Mario Galaxy and Super Luigi Galaxy Let's Plays are no longer there, just because, well, in the end of the day, it's just about the fact that it's all the matters of the forms of the quality of the actual video footages all by itself. So yeah, you probably get the gist of it. So Anyways, another thing I want to explain about this potentially is the fact that there's still no sign of CapKing74 for quite some time at this point, because I'm afraid to say is the fact that, well, his video views, especially on his channel anyway, is starting to go decreasing it in a small portion, because either way though, in the end of the day, I'm guessing is because that most YouTuber celebrity, or in this case some subscribers out there, seems to able to prefer my channel over the likes of in CapKing74's channel for some reason. But I'm guessing it's because of the actual preference to understanding of how the fact that some mechanics worked, and especially noticeable with the commentary skills and stuff like that. But I'm guessing it might be some conception for possibilities, and or in this case, you know, possibilities were endless or something like that. So yeah, speaking of Nintendo's E3, is the fact that, well, it wasn't exactly going to be true yet, but even then, I've heard from some other tier lists from the certain websites, Twitter leaks and stuff like that. Well, again, it might not be true for that point just yet, but until after about, you know, a week left until, well, I would say by the forms of like, as far as I'm aware, that I've already mentioned about this before, that we've already got about a week left now until, you know, Nintendo's E3 announcements, which I'm still really hyped for it even to this day. And as far as I'm aware, for the actual, like, tier lists or Tifa lists or something like that, basically, they did sort of mention about the forms of that particular, stuff, like, the actual gaming announcements that might most likely, gonna show it up, or especially noticeable, they seem to think this is actually probably fake. See, for Nintendo, that stuff like, for instance, that obviously the actual main, point of, the actual purposes of the actual Nintendo Direct E3 2019 stuff we're about to be hopefully showcased, and that is obviously we've got Fire Emblem Three Houses until about a month later until that game comes out on July, and especially notable for more information about Astro Chain. But again, all these informations aren't exactly real or anything like that until, you know, a week left, or else we'll be able to know, we'll find things out exponentially, and you probably get the idea for that. So another game they're definitely going to be able to show off some more information on, and that is Luigi's Mansion 3, because we're expecting we would finally get ourselves the final release date, and I can assuming that it might actually bring us to a new logo of the game, because you never any forms of certain random Japanese version of the logo image that managed to pop out of nowhere. And as a result, though, it might actually retain the orange-green as opposed to the green 3 or anything like that. You know, just like in forms of how it does it on that, you know, when back in E3 2011, they did manage to able to first announce Luigi's Mansion 2 on the 3DS, but even then, that in the first logo of that particular title, that it did manage to able to bring us to not only Luigi's Mansion 2's name itself, but the number 2 represents is going to be pink, which usually has the exact same color as the final release of the game, specifically on the Japanese and the European version of the game, whilst in the forms of the American version, it just calls it Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. And in the E3 2011 version, they did bring up is just the fact that the actual 2 number was actually a little bit more thicker or bigger than the forms of how it does it on the final version. So even then, that's the only thing that makes it a little bit of a slightly change for that point. But I could expect it might be this, it might do the same thing for Luigi's Mansion 3 I was expecting, because even then, at the end of the day, that it seems to go a little bit more, well, the game is still in development, as you can tell, because even then, if you remember from the last year's Nintendo Direct, specifically on September the 13th, and then as a result, though, it just seems to able to actually get ourselves the working title, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, you probably get the idea for that. So another game we'll hopefully expect to show off, and that is the Town game by the exact same company as, well, from Pokemon. Like, for instance, that Town game has also been made by, not only for Nintendo, but it's also Game Freak as well. So even then, kind of a nice complimentary right there. But again, I'm not exactly sure I'm going to get that until whenever the release date is going to show up. But even then, though, that's as far as I can say about it here. So I'm definitely really hoping that The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening remake will be on its way. So even though that should be happening. And let's not forget to mention about the forms of, you know, Animal Crossing game for the Switch, because I know for some fans out there, especially noticeable for the likes of in the past few months or so, they are so desperate to want to able to let the new Animal Crossing game on the Switch have some more information, which I know I'm feeling incredibly bad for some people, but for me, Animal Crossing is not my cup of tea, you know, folks, because I know it's definitely a little bit more popular when it comes to fans and critics alike, but for me, I haven't really owned that much of Animal Crossing stuff. The only time exception of this, though, is the, of course, the Super Smash Bros. Amiibo lineup. Well, I've always still have so far the Villager as it is, but until July, actually, we might actually get ourselves, not only for the sake of Pichu, but also Isabelle as well. So, expecting so, then it would be pretty exciting at the same time. But even then, I haven't really brought that much Amiibos, to be honest with you guys. But the last, or in this case, for what I've knowledge, is the fact that the previous Amiibo I actually did purchase was actually from last time. It was actually by the forms of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, specifically the Guardian Amiibo, which, again, I haven't really touched upon that game yet still, because I need to able to get back into other Zelda experience first. Like, for instance, I'm still in the middle of Ocarina of Time for Kakariko Village on the N64 version. And then after that, then I shall be able to move on to the next Zelda game, which is Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link, aka the hardest Zelda game I've ever played. And speaking of that Zelda games, actually, is the fact that I've heard that the actual, what you would call that game is basically a rhythm game on the Nintendo eShop on the Nintendo Switch. I haven't exactly noticing that, but even now, before I mention about that, well, after all, we have now finally concluded the Seaside Galaxy, and as a result, we got about 120 power stars and all that stuff. And sure enough, Rosalina will actually talk to us something. So even then, let's go ahead and save our game here. And sure enough, we're able to actually get into the center of the universe. We now have enough star power to go to another world. But before that, we must help your special one. Are you prepared to travel to the center of the universe? Alright then, off we go. So yeah, just like last time from, specifically in Mario's playthrough of the game, well, you need to able to replay that stage twice in order to actually just to see what the next unlockable will be. But this time around, though, it's going to be slightly different because you remember from Super Mario Galaxy that once you finish that, as I said, there's countless amount of times, then you weren't able to actually unlock to play as Luigi. But you have to able to replay the game again, but this time with, of course, playing as Luigi, of course. So, I think it seems to say, this is actually, again, as I said this before, this is actually the final time we're going to be exploring this stage, because even then, that there's no additional power stars or anything like that, it's just only one, which is, of course, the Grand Star, of course. So, but until the Super Mario Galaxy 2 came around, though, which I'm sure enough there will possibilities will be so much more in common, then, you know. Then again, just like in yesterday's video, I do apologize for the awkward transition between the actual awkward pauses and stuff like that when it comes to the actual microphone. Whoa! Jeez, Louise! You're trying to able to actually make me a little bit more faster than attempt to? Jeez. But hey, I'll take it. I'll definitely take for that specific passing and stuff. So even then, how do I describe it? Kudos to that. So anyways, of course, that's to be expected. We need to bypass for that, the trickiest, hardest final part of this level, as you can tell for this point, because obviously, you know, I accidentally died due to, like, not only by the forms of that bullet bill just trying to knock me off and just stun me for a few seconds, but it's also that you can't able to actually recover after when you're able to, or before you get squished by the thwomp instantly. So, yeah, it's pretty unfair from my knowledge. So even then, that could be so much of it. And yet again, it's very impossible to able to avoid this section right there, unless if you're able to know what you're supposed to do. But for me, I always go in like super hasty and stuff, and then just trying to able to speed things up a little, and then that way I can able to actually just to bypass that section entirely. So, oh god, don't you dare. Okay, good. So anyways though, speaking of the Zelda game actually, is the fact that I've definitely noticed is the fact that the actual Cadence of Hyrule, which if you guys should already know about that particular game, it's basically it's like a DLC expansion to that Dancing Keeper type of game or something like that. But again, I haven't really looked upon the videos of that too much about it. But they actually finally got themselves the actual release date, and I'm almost going to be dying any second again. Well, thankfully though, that's not been the case. So, but anyways though, yeah, for the Cadence of Hyrule, they finally got themselves the actual release date at long last, and it appears to be going to be releasing on, at some time in this June, because you know it's kind of like the same thing for how it does it on, during the likes of in 2018, that during the, Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle Donkey Kong Adventure DLC, they did promise to say about the fact that that particular piece of DLC will be originally going to be released during spring 2018, but they decided able to save that during the E3 2000 during June on 2018 instead. Most notably because of how the fact that they need to able to work hard on the forms of other locations, or especially noticeable with the actual storytelling as far as I'm most likely concerned of. So, I'm pretty sure it might be the same applies for Cadence of Hyrule, I'm basically assuming. But even then, we'll never know until whenever that new information will come. So, and it's thanks to the forms of the Japanese Indie World Direct video, they actually did showcase the actual more footage of Cadence of Hyrule game. And sure enough, yes, it's basically a rhythm game. So, and that's as far as I can usually say about this point, to be honest with you guys, apart from the fact that, well, you know, I'm pretty excited still when it comes to, like, it's only for about a week left also at this point now. So even though, here we go, on to the final boss for the second time as Luigi, and it's also the final time for Luigi itself as well. So even though, it's also worth noting for is the fact that this is technically the fourth time able to actually fighting against with this final boss fight, and then hopefully this will be the final time as well from the actual main purpose of this Let's Play in general. Sure, it's a little bit more epic than it used to be, so even though, let's go ahead and just able to actually just beat him a lot faster than attempt to. So even though, this is hoping we could able to, oh sweet, nicely done. So even though, thankfully though, we don't have to wait until when he decides to transform into himself his spiky ball, or in this case a spiky shell of himself right there. So even though, almost to the third and the final phase for one last time. So even though, bring it on, Bowser, bring it on. But I'm sure I already know about this kinds of stuff already. So even though, because we already just fight him for about 3 times in a row so far, and this is actually the 4th time, as I said this before, for the majority of this Let's Play. So, anyways though, so let's go ahead once again, let his tail got burned, and also we need able to spin attack right in front of him, so, but thankfully you can able to actually use the see-through planet right there, so just in case of the keeping track of where Bowser's actually running away from. So, here we go, on to the last phase of the fight, which, you know, is definitely a little bit trickier than last time, but, you know, you probably get the idea for that. And I'm super surprised about the fact that CapKing74, speaking of which, is that I'm assuming that he doesn't go that far from it now for Super Luigi Galaxy Let's Play itself, because, well, you know what, I said this before, that he did manage to, oh, really? He did manage to not even, like, smash this little fiery glass container, but now he does. So, anyways, so let's go ahead and deal with this for one last 2 shots, and there goes the last shot there, and kaboom! So yeah, we're never going to see Bowser ever again in this game. Well, I'm sure enough, if you remember from the actual ending of between, like, you know, Super Mario Galaxy to Super Luigi Galaxy or something like that, then basically that he might be still lived after all. So, to be expected at this point from the future Mario games at this point, expecting there might be either the next Mario Odyssey game is essentially, I'm not exactly sure, as I said this countless amount of times, but even then though, that's, yeah. I gotta admit it though, I actually really do like that scene whenever when, you know, you truly get a little bit of a hype for it. So even then though, when if you trying to celebrate with the green star obtaining, Luigi, not do a backflip, please, thank you. So anyways, we are done with the actual, Super Luigi Galaxy game. Though you're probably thinking that, is it entirely over? Well, until, as I said this before, the final 2 videos, until, like, you know, one in the 5th of June, which is tomorrow, and especially noticeable for the 6th of June, which will definitely have to be the conclusion of the actual Let's Play of not only Super Mario Galaxy, but it's also Super Luigi Galaxy as well. So, but I digress. So once again, we save Princess Peach here, and much like it forms of how it does it on Super Mario Galaxy Let's Play, I'm going to be talking over for this particular final ending cutscenes throughout until the very last scene of that particular story. The one time where Rosalina managed to able to watch over you from the actual planet and stuff like that. So just like in a Super Mario Galaxy game, then you know you probably get the idea for that. So there goes the actual planet itself. That although later on though it will immediately transform into the forms of the black hole itself eventually. So there goes Bowser right there, just managed to able to, almost feels like he's almost going to be giving up and stuff, but even then, that he's a little bit more super stable. But at least until by then anyway. And I'm afraid to say for this point guys, is the fact that this will be the final time we're going to be watching those you know, these little amazing cutscenes, because until when Super Mario Galaxy 2 came around, I'm afraid to say there won't be certain of those cutscenes like this in Mario Galaxy 2, I'm afraid, because even then, it might be focusing on something else potentially, but who knows. And of course, the black hole is still a thing, so even then though that, well, every time I see this scene, that not only does it makes me feel a little bit more shocked about it, but it's also, well, for Luma's sake, every time they made cute noises and stuff. Oh jeez, it gives me so much emotional potential moments, because even then, I just felt incredibly bad for them. Well, until the spin-off games came around, then they seemed perfectly fun on the spin-off titles, like in the Mario Tennis Open, for example, and even Mario Tennis Aces especially, there seems to be perfectly fine and stuff. And then also, same applies for Mario Party Island Tour by the forms of Rocket Road essentially. So, but yeah, you can also able to actually see the Comet Observatory again until, you know, Mario Party Island Tour, where you can see it on the entire background when you get towards the goal and stuff. But even then though, that could be applied, also same applies by the forms of, if you remember from our Let's Play of Super Mario 3D World, whenever you're trying to unlock Rosalina and stuff, I know you guys are probably thinking that, stop spoiling for us! Well, turns out that game was now, well, I would seem to say almost 6 years old at this point. Well, until when it gets to a point until November, but that's just how I think it is, so. And once again, that Rosalina was actually a lot more taller, or even bigger, than the likes of Luigi, as you can see on screen. Even same applies for Mario's version as well, but even then though that, even though I said this before, that the actual dialogue itself is basically slightly similar, but one thing is a little bit different than the forms of Mario's version is that, obviously, Peach managed to able to call out Luigi's name as opposed to Mario's, so at least that makes it up for it, because again, I kinda wish if Daisy would be in it, but never happened though, so, oh well. So you'll see. What about that? Of course, there will be so much more potentials. There will be another world to be discovered, which even then, as far as I'm most likely aware of, is that one thing as I've found is a little bit strange is that although when you're trying to begin the Super Luigi Galaxy mode on this entire Super Mario Galaxy game, well, you don't start things off with the actual Star Festival or something. So instead, it just, you know, jump straight to the chase and then just get into the actual Gateway Galaxy first. And then somehow Luigi ended up in here now. So that's pretty surprising for him. Especially, it kind of reminds me of that. Well, you don't normally do the final boss in Super Mario 64 DS as Luigi. Only Mario, he's the only one who can do it. Because, you know, he's the chosen one after all. So, like most of any other installments these days now. So. And of course, as you can see on the background, or in this case, the actual Star Festival, as you can see right there, all the enemies, including Dino Piranha, managed to join into the actual Star Festival for that scene. So, yeah. I'm gonna hand it to it there, right? The visual still looks absolutely gorgeous, especially when this scene actually happens, and it just looks so much more crisper than they attempt to.
Oh, yes.
And of course, much like always, that, you know, that light, that particular light right there, I'm pretty sure it might be representing when Rosalina actually says something to us. But again, I'm not exactly sure about that though. But again, I do apologize if my dialogue itself has gone really awkward for this point today because, well, until next week though, then I'm sure enough Sonic will be able to mention about, or in this case Mario, and for those who if he wants to go back into Super Mario Odyssey at some point or another. So even then, yeah, that was it for Super Luigi Galaxy. So even then, I'm not going to give my final thoughts of the game just yet, though. Well, I suppose I could, actually, because even then, of course, the other final 2 videos will be, some extra videos and stuff like that. So even then, yeah, let's get into my final thoughts of it. And same applies by the forms of, if you remember from the Mario's playthrough of this, in this particular mode, then basically it just takes you all to the exact same staff credits with the exact same screenshots, although slightly different because, you know, since we actually did manage to beat the likes of the final boss for the second time, so even then, at least we got some different screenshots at least, including, you know, Luigi's image of himself. So even then, though, that could be somewhat of a surprising moment. So yeah, let's give my final thoughts of, you know, the entire Super Mario Galaxy game itself for the Nintendo Wii/Nintendo Wii U eShop downloadable version. In this case, I don't know what you call it. It's like the eShop downloadable version or the Virtual Console version. It's hard to tell which one's which, but I digress. Overall, this is easily, without doubt, one of the best Mario games I've ever played on the Nintendo Wii standpoints, because even then, especially same applies for the sequel as well, which again, we'll point things out during the next month or anything like that for this point now, and overall I just found this game to be a lot more enjoyable from ever before. Like, even then, I still managed to able to enjoy this game since when it first came out, and after for about like almost 12 years ago for this point now, and I really still managed to play this a lot, even especially noticeable on the living room and stuff like that. But now I played it loads of times on my own room now, and yeah, this game is such a blast to play. Even then, the story itself looks very, very cool looking, because even then, unlike the sequel for that matter, well, guess we'll point things out whenever when Duffy managed to get onto that redo Let's Play at some point. You know, I said this before. About a month left now, but until we get to, you know, Super Mario Galaxy 2 redo Let's Play at this point now. So, yeah. And the music, oh man, the music is super gorgeous, and especially noticeable, it's very epic in almost every single way. You can also get this on, let's just say on iTunes, or in this case in this, sound test album or something like that, like the physical CDs and stuff, but those are really expensive to get in online these days. Although I'm guessing it's because of the actual Club Nintendo exclusive gives some concern, but even then though, that's as far as I can say. Graphics, as I said this before, looks absolutely stunning, especially noticeable this is on Nintendo Wii game, even though it wasn't nearly as powerful as the later generations nowadays, but it still looks very, very fantastic looking game to look at. And heck, even with the actual gameplay itself, it reminds me of so much of Super Mario 64, but except that most of these missions are somewhat linear than the forms of how it does it on Super Mario 64, so even then, at least I still managed to enjoy that. Controls are absolutely tight and perfect in almost every way. Not too many issues, I feel like, though. So even then, though, I really enjoy this game so much, a lot of it. Even especially noticeable for after 12 years of my life. Well, almost for about 11 and a half months, I should say, that I managed to able to actually enjoy this a lot. I can able to replay this game every single time, and especially noticeable for the forms of like that potential moments. So even then, well, until when we get to Super Mario Galaxy 2, it should be a hell of a lot more fun. But even then, that's as far as I can say about it. So, and of course, that we're not gonna end this off just yet, though, because as I said this before, once you beat the game like, well, twice as Luigi, then obviously you get yourselves the one last final cutscene, which usually focuses on Rosalina herself.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will watch over you from beyond the stars. So what reward we've got this time? We got the Grand Finale Galaxy is now opened, not only for Luigi, but also for Mario as well. So here's the thing about this, is that until the final 2 videos, is that I'm gonna be most likely focusing on the Super Mario Galaxy video first, and then after that we'll do the Super Luigi Galaxy's final video for last. Because of this though, join me tomorrow of more of Let's Play of Super Mario Galaxy / Super Luigi Galaxy, is that we're about to be going on to not only the Grand Finale Galaxy, but oh yeah, the storybook for Rosalina's story. Oh jeez, I forgot about that too. So anyways though, see you guys next time for that. So later fellas.